Hello. Today I'm just testing out this whole streaming thing, and I'm just going to be changing some strings and hanging out, so it's kind of casual. Nothing's going to really happen unless a meteor drops on my head or something like that. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Basically, just going to be changing some strings on first the Ibanez Pia, and then I'm going to change on the Kiesel after that. That's my plan anyway. And I do have a bass in the back here as well that I'm planning to change strings on. Although I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing it for that long. You know, I might stop at the guitars. I don't know yet. Because I haven't changed strings on that bass before. It's like a headless Ibanez. So, but I'll see. But at least on these two it should be fine. Hopefully I don't break any strings. You never know though. There's always something that can happen when you do this stuff. But whatever. This is just for fun, just to see if live streaming is sort of something that, you know, could make sort of sense for the channel or whatever. So feel free to say hello or whatever. Although I guess right now there's nobody watching anyway, but whatever. I'm just going to be talking as if somebody is watching, I guess. So just changing some strings and getting this sort of boring process done, I suppose. So yeah, starting with the Ibanez Pia, just trying to get that back in shape because these strings are they're kind of worn out at this point. So I gotta get rid of them. The intonation is starting to give out, and yeah. So I just want to get rid of those quickly. And then, like I said, I might change strings on the bass as well afterwards, but I'll see how much I want to do. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of boring to change strings, so I thought I might as well make like an experiment out of it, you know. Because usually I put on like a podcast or, you know, something like that. But this is a different way to do it, I suppose. We'll see if somebody shows up. If not, it's no big deal. There's apparently one person watching, but who knows? Might just be a bot or something like that. But let's see, we're just going to keep changing anyway. And also, I've forgotten to put the truss rod cover on this guitar ever since I got it. Because I did adjust the truss rod a little bit when I got it. And then I never put it back on actually, so I'll do that as well. Okay, so strings. I usually use the Diodario 9s, just the standard 9s. I did go many years trying to force myself to use 10s, but to me, like, it didn't really work that well. I kind of tried to force myself to just play thicker strings, and it just made my technique kind of worse. I feel like it just made my hand cramp up, and the vibrato was very uncontrolled and whatever. And then I went back to 9s, and then everything was just fine again. So I don't know. I think I just embraced the fact that my hands are probably better off playing 9s, you know. Whatever that means, you know. Whenever I play a guitar with like 11s or something, it's just like, it's so uncomfortable. It's just like, I would never be able to like feel comfortable playing that, especially if you're going to be doing any bending or stuff like that. If you're on like a jazz guitar, that's a different thing, or like an acoustic. Because I used to play 12s on the jazz guitar, and I still play 12s on acoustic. But hang on, is this? Let me try this again. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I used to play 12s on the jazz guitars. But now I have 10s on that Kiesel Tim Miller guitar, which is sort of what I use for the sort of jazz style guitar now. Although I don't really play jazz that much anymore. It's just kind of not really what I've been focusing on. Okay, so although it's good to have that available, you know. Okay, that's probably enough. Just gonna, yeah, I'll do it by hand for now, it doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. I have one of those string winders, but whatever. I might use it after a while. I mean, I could try it. Yeah, I do have it here. Okay, let's see. Here we go. And we're going to be stretching them out a little bit as well once we get that far. There we go. That's probably good. Yeah, I'm just going to tune them like sort of up to pitch, and then, you know, I'm going to fine tune it later. It's probably going to take a little while until the strings settle in properly anyway, so might as well just let them rest sort of close to the correct pitch. All right, that's one string done. I guess that's kind of quick. Oh yeah, it's already, the string is already stretching from the looks of things. Okay, and also I want to check if I can put the truss rod cover on already, although do I have my tiny screwdriver? Maybe I have to save that for later. I do have a screwdriver thing on this, but it might be too big. Let's check. No, that'll work. Okay, let's try to put the truss rod cover on. See if that's possible to do. I assume it's this way, right? Oh no, it's this way. Oh, I still haven't taken the plastic off the truss rod cover on this guitar. I think that's plastic anyway. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go. The unboxing of the truss rod cover. It's a very exclusive experience. Let's see. Let's get this thing on there. It might be a bit tricky. I need to hold it in place. And then get the screwdriver thing out. It is very convenient that Ibanez has these like multi-tools in the guitars like this. Okay, let's see if I can actually get this. Yep, there we go. Yeah, I was kind of lazy and I just left the truss rod cover off. And it does look a little bit worse, you know. And there was even some people that commented that like I forgot to, or I lost my truss rod cover. But now it'll look fine again. It was just when I did adjust the truss rod, I wanted it to sit for a while to see if I needed to adjust it even more. And then in that period, I just kind of forgot about it and just didn't think about it until now, I guess. But now these strings are so worn out that I just need to change them, especially if I'm going to be recording some more videos with it, you know. There we go. Okay, truss rod cover is on. Now I don't need to worry about that anymore. So let's move on to the A string. There we go. Let's see. But yeah, ever since I got this, I actually haven't changed the strings ever since I got this guitar. So I've just been using whatever was on here. But I think there are the Diodarios because they feel the same, if that makes sense. I feel like I can usually tell the difference, especially if somebody gives me a guitar with Ernie balls or something. Like I can really immediately tell, and usually for me it's not a good a positive thing, you know. I don't know, there's just something about those Ernie ball strings that I just it doesn't feel right to me. Especially the low wound strings, they feel like they're kind of dead from the get-go, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But I guess it's just what you're used to, but I'm used to the Diodarios, so that's just what I use. Okay, here we go. And I do also use, sometimes I've used elixirs a little bit, But I feel like they have like a weird little thing where they're a little bit stiffer, even though they're the same gauge. And maybe it's because of the coating or something. And I prefer it without that, so I just use these standard Teodorios and works fine for me. And then there's always that like extra bonus of the Teodorio points that you find in the package, so that you can, you can accumulate points and then get some free strings every once in a while. So I've done that a lot. I just collect all the packages and then I get some free strings every once in a while. Of course, you do sort of pay for them because you paid for the code, but it's kind of nice to just get some extra that you haven't really bought separately. Okay, attaching the A string here, if I can get this thing under here. And I usually just kind of change one string at a time, and I don't really worry too much about like taking everything off at the same time, because I don't want to deal with the trem and blocking it and whatever, and I don't really need to clean the fretboard on this one as it is, so I don't worry about that right now. It's just about getting new strings on there. I think that's good enough. If I can get that a little bit more, just to be safe. I'm not completely cranking it, but yeah, I want it to feel a little bit firm at least. All right, so then we'll put the A string through here. And yeah, there is a review of this guitar coming at some point. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to change the strings in the first place, other than just fixing the intonation and just recording the solo videos that are on the way. But it's also, I want to do a review of the guitar, and I should do that with sort of new-ish strings on. Usually I find that strings, I like them best when they're like maybe a week old or something, or like a few days old. Just not, not like just put on the guitar, because they're like very bright and they feel a little bit kind of sterile or whatever. There's like a different feel to it. So to me, it always feels better when I've been playing them for a little bit, but they're still new, but they're just like not 100% new, if that makes sense. So yeah, like a couple of days in, that's usually when the strings start feeling like the way I like them. But I am kind of lazy when it comes to string changes in general. I kind of keep them on way too long, and then at a certain point I just realize like I have to change them. And I think this is one of those times, where I just kind of have to, because they're getting so worn out that there's not really much other choice than to change them up. And then after I'm done with this guitar, I have the other guitar, which you can sort of see off the side there, which is the Kiesel Johnny Highland guitar. And I'm gonna try the hybrid set for that, because it's a hardtail, and I feel like the low E string, when you hit it open, it goes kind of sharp very, very easily with standard 9-gauge strings. But I do like the 9-gauge feel on the upper strings, so I'm going to try like a hybrid set for that one. But for this one, I'm just using the standard 9-gauge stuff, 9 to 42 or whatever. All right, let's see. There we go. Yeah, this string is worn out as hell, like completely filled with dents all over, so it makes sense that the intonation is starting to go. Okay, here we go. And I just have this giant plastic bag here from some IKEA furniture that I'm just throwing all the strings into, so that they don't like spread across the whole room here. All right, D string, let's find one. Here's one. Okay. Then this thing. There we go. I do remember back in the day trying to restring a Floyd Rose or a floating, I think it was a Floyd Rose I had back in the day, and trying to restring that for the first time. That was a bit annoying, but these days it's kind of, I'm pretty used to it really. So it is funny how you get used to that. It's not really that big of a deal, it's just there's a few steps that you need to get used to, I guess, and I guess right now I'm a bit failing a little bit actually. Hang on, there we go. Yeah, it might actually be better to use my other keys than this. Okay, well, it's working, it's fine. Actually, let me try to use one of my normal ones. Let's have a look. What do I have on this? Not the right one. Okay, that's very good preparation. Let's see, there should be one in here, I think. Because the handle on that thing is kind of large. I want to see, what about... no, that's way too big. Maybe I don't have one that fits right here. Because this looks too small. Yeah, maybe where would I put that then? Let's see. Oh well, I can just use the normal one. It doesn't really matter. Let me just have one more last look here. No, okay, for some reason, maybe it's in one of my bags or something, I don't know. But whatever, we have this, it should be fine. There's some metal flaking on it, whatever that is. Hopefully I don't get that in my eye or anything like that. Okay, yeah, this is working fine. I just need to grab the bridge a little bit. And now it's stuck, which is kind of annoying. There we go. Okay, I think that's tight enough. All right, I guess we'll find out. Okay, attaching the B string. There we go. Or so I thought. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, and I pull them out usually like here or so, and then I just start winding. It doesn't really matter that much since I have the locking nut or whatever, so I'm not really too peculiar about it on a guitar like this. Which is also part of the reason why I like them, you know, it's just so convenient. Once you've locked it down, it's sort of, you don't really worry about that part of the guitar that much. Okay, here we go. Is this even... oh, it's not really that well in tune, but whatever. We'll just get it like approximately there, and then I'll fine tune it later. We got to do some stretching on the strings anyway, so it's gonna go out of tune again and whatever. So, and we have to do the fine tuners and everything like that. All right, G string next. But yeah, I usually just take them off one at a time, so I don't have to worry about the bridge popping out or blocking the trem or anything like that. It just makes it easier. And then if I have to clean the fingerboard, usually I just kind of take off one at a time, and then I clean that area, and then I will put on the new one and then take away the next one and clean that area. it's, I mean, for me, it's usually good enough. There's rarely any need for me to like clean the whole fretboard like down to every like millimeter, you know. Doesn't usually get that dirty, at least. Well, maybe it's because I keep switching guitars these last years, but it seems to be fine. Also, I'm a bit worried I'm gonna bleed here, so I'm gonna grab this like this instead. Let's see. There we go. Sometimes when you pull on the string, you get it stuck in your flesh, and then you start bleeding. So I'm a bit wary of that when it comes to the high strings. And come on. All right, now it's stuck in there. All right, that's great. This is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. At least it's stuck on a string that I'm going to cut off soon, so it doesn't matter if I damage it or anything like that. All right, back to this thing. Just gonna detach this. There we go. Okay, good stuff. There's been a few people tuning in, which is, I don't know, surprising maybe, but oh well, that's nice. Feel free to talk about guitars or whatever in the chat and I'll read it. This is sort of my first attempt at this whole like streaming thing here, so, you know, it's just for fun, just kind of casual, no big deal. So if you just want to talk about guitar or anything, or just say hello, yeah, that's cool. I'll just be here changing my strings anyway, so there's no big deal. All right, new G string coming up. All right, stuck. All right, let's grab another one to see what we get. All right, that one's fine. I do like that like big box of strings that Diodario makes. It's kind of a neat thing. Although I have a bunch of, you know, the normal packages as well, so. And also have a bunch of Elixir strings that I won from the JTC Gem of the Month like last month or 2 months ago. I don't know. So, but I don't really use the Elixirs that much, so I'm not sure when I'm going to put them to use. I don't know. But I mean, I'll probably use them at some point for something. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't really know. Because like I said, I usually go for the Diodarios. Let's see, I'm just gonna put this, there we go. And I do have some other like, oh shit, I don't want to get that screwdriver in my eye. That was kind of risky there. I do have some of those Diodarios with the coating as well, but I have not tried those. But I've been meaning to put them on a guitar, but then I've just like defaulted back to what I'm used to, you know, which is typical. But we'll see. One day I'll try them out. Maybe I'll make a video about it. I don't know. Who knows? If I can make a video about changing strings, I can make a video about pretty much anything, I guess. So, let's see. There we go. Perfect, or at least adequate. All right, where's my thingy? All right, I've misplaced it. Oh no, here it is. All right. There we go. All right. So yeah, on the headstock, I don't really care too much about how many rounds I go around the tuning peg on this guitar. since it has the locking nut and whatever. Alright, that's close enough to a G. I mean, I could plug in the tuner as well. Let's see. I have the axe effects on this side, so I can... It's not... You can't see it on the camera, but whatever. It's not a big... it's a little bit sharp, but yeah. Alright, now it's a G. Alright. Oh shit, almost cut that at the wrong spot. Hang on, let me fix that. There we go. Alright, moving on to the B string. Okay. And I feel like I should have like some sort of gloves or something when I pull the string out, but whatever. If I bleed, if I die, I die. That's just how it goes. Alright, that's looking like it's getting pretty loose up there. But yeah, it'll be fun to have new strings on this guitar, because I think this will take the place as my favorite guitar of all time that I've owned. So it is kind of, it will be kind of nice to try it with a fresh set of strings, since I actually haven't done that yet, because I'm very lazy about string changes. The only way you can make me change strings is if I can make content at the same time, as you can clearly tell. So if I can't do that, I never change my strings. Alright, that should be loose enough. There we go. Okay. Let's see. There we go. It's going to be a lot of strings in this bag. And I do have the bass back there that I'm thinking about switching strings on as well, but I've never switched strings on that headless design, so hopefully that won't turn into a complete headache. But it'll probably be fine. But first we'll do the guitars, and then a B string. Here we go. And then I'll cut it with this thing. There we go. And also I keep the ball things, because why not? Why not collect something like that? I have a huge collection of them in a box. Just no reason. It's just funny to have like a bunch of them every time. So every time I change strings, I put them in that box. It is kind of a weird thing, I guess, but I don't know. It makes me somewhat satisfied. I don't know why. It might be a little bit of the tism or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but it's fun. Let's see. All right, that's probably good enough. There we go. And then let's put that through the peg. All right, there we go. Okay, I just cut myself on the G string. That's nice. Oh well, that's bound to happen. Let's see, that one I can just... I keep putting that somewhere and I don't know where I put it. There we go. Let's see when this starts tightening. There we go. All right, that's starting to get kind of good. Let's see, is that even... it's almost there. Yep, there we go. But it's all gonna drift out of tune anyway, so I'm not being too picky about it. All right. Okay, lastly, the E string. Everyone's favorite, the one that's most likely to snap. So I think I'm missing a few E strings in that big string box there, because that's happened a few times where I've broken the string and I've taken it from there. So at some point I'm gonna have like missing strings in there. I think I cut myself on that string a little bit, but that's okay. That's just life. Sometimes you get cut in an E string. All right, here we go. I'm gonna detach the string down here. I don't know if you can see that much. I mean, it's not really a big deal, but whatever. It's not really a professional setup right now. I'm kind of moving the whole room around, so this is sort of the last thing I do before I move the desk and all the furniture. So, but first, string change. That's the most important part. The furniture can wait. And then, like I said, I do want to do a review with this guitar with like sort of fresh strings on it. So hopefully I could record that. Well, maybe not this week or next week, but maybe in 2 weeks or so I can record a demo with it. And I think the strings will be in good enough shape by then. Shouldn't be a problem. And I'm going to be playing another guitar for some of that time anyway, I know that. So that's fine. Okay, E string, let's find one. Still got plenty of them left. All right. There we go. So this will be the last string on this guitar. I'll do some of the stretching and then tuning it up. And then I'll just leave it for tomorrow because it will probably settle in a little bit overnight after I just let it sit for a while. Let's see. I don't know if this is the best angle, but whatever. Nothing about this is the best ever, let's put it that way. But it's an experiment just to see if people tune into the whole live streaming thing and if people actually write anything. You know, it's just for fun. Let's see what happens. It's very casual. It's not really a big deal. There we go. All right, let's hope this thing doesn't snap. It's always a little bit scary with the E strings. It doesn't really happen often, but there is always that feeling when you're tuning it up that you're just waiting for it to happen, you know. All right, let's get the thing. Here we go. Okay, so far so good. And now it's going to start tightening. All right, it's starting to be pretty good. I don't know, I probably have a pretty dodgy way of doing this, but I just feel like if I hold it here and then I can feel the pressure coming down, it's sort of, let's see, is that, oh, that's a bit sharp. Let's not snap it just yet. Let's keep it a bit flat. I usually try to keep the E string a bit flat all the way up until I'm doing the final tuning, just to not provoke it any more than necessary, you know. Okay, good. Let's throw that in there. Okay, that's a bunch of strings already. All right, and then we can do some of the, we can take the fine tuners, reset them sort of. I'll just put them at somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere around the middle. It's not really a big deal. I can adjust that later. All right, and then we'll do some of the stretching. I usually stretch like around the 12th fret first and then go to like the 24th fret or so and then like around the 5th or something like that. So like the middle of the string sort of, and then like this half of the string, and then this half of the string. And that's, I don't know, to me that seems to make sense. And I don't know, I haven't done any tests or anything, but from what I can tell, that's sort of a nice way to do it. It's not excessive or anything, but you kind of stretch it out from different places on the string, like that. And then I just yank on it a little bit like that. So that's, I don't know, I've been doing it like that for a while, and seems to work, so why change it? You know, there's probably like a better way to do almost anything I do when it comes to guitar setup and whatever, but you know, it's simple and it works and it's not a big deal. And usually the strings will settle in anyway in with a little playing time, so I don't really worry too much about it. But I do this just to kind of speed it up a little bit. And it's a little bit fun, you know, it's a great fun to stretch strings. It's a very nice hobby. There we go, that's probably fine. Getting a little bit impatient probably, but whatever. Also, I don't want to overstretch the E string, obviously. I don't want to be too aggressive with that one. Okay, and then we could just do some rough tuning here. I'm just looking at the Axe-Fx tuner. Oh, sorry. There we go. Oh, that one wasn't too bad. Yep. Oh, sorry, I was on the wrong thing. All right, and then I think that's kind of it. And then we'll just put the locking things on again. Yeah, I'm just checking. So I think it's fine. I'll just start putting those back on. All right, and then we'll tighten it up, and then we'll move on to the next guitar after that. I'll probably have to fine-tune this a bit like tomorrow when I start playing it again. It's probably gonna have to get played in a little bit before it's like perfect, but whatever. I'll just lock it down for now. Not too tight, I guess that should be fine. Maybe a little bit more on this one. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, so not too bad. And then we'll just let that one rest until tomorrow, I suppose. But yeah, that's not too bad. Doesn't take too long. Okay, next guitar, that's gonna be this thing. So the Johnny Highland Kiesel thing. More or less, although on this one we are going to switch to 9 to 46 because I feel like hitting the low E on this guitar kind of hits it out of tune way easier than normal for some reason. I don't know, like it's just very sensitive to like hitting the low E. So I want to put like the hybrid set on to make the low E a bit thicker. So that's what we're going to do. I think I've used these codes already. So I think I can throw this away once I'm done. Also, I guess I did not bring a pair of scissors, but whatever, we can use this. That should work. Very prepared overall. Let's see. Okay, I'll put these in here. And yeah, we'll start with the low E again. same procedure. And yeah, on this guitar I've also been using standard 9 to 42, but I think that low 42, for some reason on this guitar, I don't know if it's the nut or the bridge or the scale length or whatever, but for some reason it does kind of go very sharp when you hit an open E on this. So I want to experiment and see what this is like with 9 to 46. So that's what we're doing. Let's check it out. First, we gotta get this fucking thing up. Oh shit, I just swore. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Let's see. Here we go. Get this string out of here. There we go. Alright. And like I said, I always cut these off and keep them because that's a very sensible thing to do, not weird at all. Keeping these. I have a box full of them. It's just kind of funny because I wonder how many I'll have when I'm like, I don't know, 80 years old, and I'll have like a box full of thousands of those like string ends. I don't know why that idea appeals to me, but it does, and it's not hurting anyone, so why not do it, you know? Let's see. Okay, so let's start with the E string. Hello, there we go. Okay. These things are, there we go. So I want this one. Oops, almost poked my eye out there. That's good. That would have been good content, you know. And that's more important than having eyesight, as we all know. Alright, let's see. Let's put this string through. Alright. Now this has locking tuners, so this is pretty straightforward. Although it's a little bit stuck now. Oh, here we go. Alright, just lock it down. Here we go. And it has the Graphtec Tusk nut on it. So there shouldn't be any need to do any lubrication thing or anything like that. I've never done it on this guitar anyway, so yeah, I've never had really any problems with it. Other than the thing that I mentioned with the low E, when you hit it, it can go sharp pretty easily, which is a little bit annoying. And I was recording this new song that I'm working on, and I do some like kind of hard hits on the low string on this guitar. And it was going out of tune, so I had to kind of like mess around with the tuning to get it to work right. So I'm hoping to mitigate that with these slightly thicker, or these like hybrid strings. So it's going to be interesting to see. There we go. Okay, onto the A string. I do really like this guitar though. It is, it's kind of like a modern telly sort of thing. And it feels really good to play. And especially the neck pickup has a very like crunchy sound, which is kind of interesting. It feels a bit unique. I'm not sure if it's just this pickup by itself or if it's the placement that's very far up the neck or whatever. I'm not sure. Oh, we got our first comment. Let's see. It's by Holy Sheet. That's a pretty good name. How much did your guitar cost? I don't remember exactly for this one. And the other one, this one, I did like a trade for that. So it's kind of hard to, I don't have the numbers in my head exactly for that. But I mean, they are a bit expensive, these ones. But they're very nice, so I do like them. And that one was, I bought it used, you know, or I traded it used for another guitar that I had. But it was like brand new. The guy hadn't really played it at all. So it was like I kind of got like a new guitar, even if I got it from some random guy on the used marketplace or whatever. But I did have to trade another guitar and give him a little bit of money. So it's like I don't know the numbers exactly. But that one is a bit expensive, yeah. So I got rid of 3 other guitars because of that one. Just to kind of, you know, it felt a bit unnecessary to have that many with the same sort of setup. You know, like the floating bridge and the humbuckers, like shred type guitar. So I got rid of 3 other Ibanez guitars that are sort of like that, you know, to kind of make room for that. And that's the one that I like the most, you know. So I kind of tried a lot of them, and then I kept that one. Actually, I got rid of, it would be 4 actually, if you count the traded one. I had a Paul Gilbert's PGM 100, like the purple. I have a video on the channel where I play it. It's the purple Paul Gilbert guitar with like the pink stuff on it, and that's the one I traded for that, you know. And that guitar was like the most easiest to play out of any guitar I've ever played, but it had the kind of annoying neck joint that gets in your way up on the higher frets. So yeah, and this one is also very nice to play, like playability wise. So it's not a big deal. And I guess maybe the PGM 100 is a bit more rare since it's like old and they don't make it anymore or whatever. But at least like the original series, they do some reissues of them, I think, but I'm not sure if, I don't know how rare they are. I don't see them a lot. But this, I feel like this guitar is much better anyway. So, or well, better. And it has the stainless steel frets, which, you know, I really like that. So, for example, the Ibanez J Custom that I had in one of my previous videos, that does not have the stainless steel frets, although they are very good frets. But I do prefer the stainless steel. Let's see another comment. Yeah, the black one looks really expensive. Yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's very like fancy, extravagant, you know. It's kind of like everything about it is sort of like over the top. If you see the inlays, they kind of change colors as well. You see that? It's kind of, there, you can see it kind of there. So they're kind of like almost like 3D almost. They're kind of sunken into the wood a little bit, and then the pickups obviously look pretty sweet, and you even have this like fancy this thing in the back, like, I don't know. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of like a gimmick, I suppose. The logo also has like that color. I can yeah, you can kind of see the color switching a little bit. It's kind of hard to get it exactly. Yeah, it's a really nice guitar. So that's been my favorite one lately, ever since I got it. And I think I might have to say it might be the best guitar I've ever owned. Because it is very versatile and it plays great and it sounds good, and yeah, it's very stable and everything like that. And it also has like the modern features like the stainless steel frets and all that, which I like. Let's see, there we go. There we go. There's going to be a lot of strings at the floor here pretty soon. I guess this one is cool too, but it's like, it's a bit more subtle and bare bones. It's a Kiesel Telecaster sort of thing. So it's sort of like a modern Telecaster thing with 3 pickups. So it has sort of like a Telecaster and Strat setup in one. but it's a hardtail though, so you know, there's no tremolo or anything like that. But it's very nice to play and has a really cool sound. Like I really like the sound of the neck pickup on this one. I will do a review of this one eventually, but it's just, you know, it takes a little time to do those, and I have to like pick one guitar at a time. So I think next the review will be of the black one, and then I have another Ibanez back there that I want to do a review of as well. And eventually this one too. There's just, you know, there's many videos to make, and they take some time to make sometimes. With the reviews, there's like a lot of editing time as well. That's fun though. Let's see, what's the question? Who inspired to play? So who inspired me to play, just in general, or to play this one, or... Well, I mean, I have many favorite guitar players, and I guess my favorite one of all time is Bumblefoot, like Ron Fall. He's sort of like my guitar hero or whatever. And then also Sean Lane, Guthrie Govan. Yeah, I don't know. Holdsworth, you know, I like that stuff too. Back in the day, I was a huge like metal fan, you know, like I listened to Slipknot all the time and stuff like that. So I was very into those bands, and then later, you know, like the Metallica stuff when I was a teenager, and then the classic rock bands, you know, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff, Deep Purple. And yeah, but now I listen to like so much different stuff that it's just like there's so many like guitar heroes like Pat Metheny, Kurt Rosenwinkel. I mentioned Holdsworth. You know, there's so many good guitar players out there. It's crazy. It's hard to really decide on any one. And I get into phases where I like really like a certain player for a while, and then I move on to something else, you know. Let's see, here we go. And lately I've been, oh, let's see, I'm also getting into guitars, but currently stuck on acoustic. Yeah, I mean, acoustic is a pretty good place to be though, I think. It's, I mean, electric guitar is a lot of fun. I guess it depends what you're going for. But there is something very nice about like an acoustic instrument that is like, I guess it's a bit more organic or whatever. Oh shit, I just did something without thinking. I just clipped that without, okay. That's very silly. I will pretend that, okay, that's what happens when you talk and change strings at the same time. All right. So I have to get a new one. That's a big embarrassing moment, but whatever. I'm so used to switching strings on the Floyd Rose or floating bridge guitar that I just prematurely just cut off the thing. But whatever, I'll just put a paper note somewhere to say that it's a D string. Here we go. I will grab. Let's see, how can I do this without getting it confused? Let's see, I'll put that there. But yeah, acoustic, you know, it's there is something nice about having like a bit more of an like organic instrument where you don't rely so much on effects and stuff to make it sound the way you want. And yeah, because electric guitar can be kind of weird, because sometimes it can sound very bad just because you don't have like the right tone setup or whatever. But an acoustic guitar more depends on your, you know, the way you play it and everything. But I mean, an acoustic guitar can sound bad too, of course. But you know, sometimes I'll do like playing acoustic, but it's not my main thing. Mostly it's when I accompany like a singer or something. That's usually when I end up playing acoustic. But there is something nice about like the acoustic strings as well that you don't really get from an electric in the same way. Okay, so this time I will not cut off this. Do you have your own original songs? Well, I do have one that's like officially released. It's on my YouTube channel. And then I have another one that's on the way, but I'm waiting for the drummer to record the drums. And I've been waiting a while, so I have to keep messaging him about that. And I have some very old songs that I made back in the day, like my very old YouTube videos. But they're not, I don't know, they're kind of fun and cool, but they're not like mixed properly or something like that. But I do have that one song which I released like 2 years ago or something. And that's on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. It's like under releases on the profile. It's also on Spotify and whatever. And then I am hoping this drummer will finish the drum tracks on this other song soon, because that's sort of what I'm missing. I'm just missing the drum tracks and then the mixing, and then I can release that. And it's I mostly played on this guitar actually. It's like a country fusion sort of thing. It's kind of weird, but it's fun, I think. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get those drum tracks soon. The drummer keeps telling me like he'll do it soon, and I keep believing him, so we'll see what happens. But he's very busy, so I understand. Let's see, I really want an electric because I'm inspired by Eric Clapton. Yeah, I mean, you should get one. It can be a lot of fun. You could maybe even get one of those, there are some like Clapton signature strats, I think. I've seen some of those around. But you can get like any strat, I guess, would be a good thing for that. Let's see. Okay, and I just have to keep reminding myself to not cut off the ball, because as I said, I usually switch strings on the floating bridges, and my brain just automatically starts cutting them off. So I need to be kind of mindful of what the hell I'm doing. There we go. All right, let's put this one on. I forgot to take off the, okay. Well, this is what well, at least that's a new experience for me. Trying to talk and change strings at the same time seems to be going sometimes okay, but then sometimes I completely forget basic skills. But whatever, we're doing okay. Let's see, there we go. Okay, let's see what we get. But yeah, that string that I cut off, I might just have to put like a post-it note in the bag so that I know that that's a D string that's new. But I mean, it's my own fault. Let's see, are you a full-time musician? Not really. I mean, I do gigs and stuff, but I make money from teaching as well. I used to do more playing, but you know, now for various reasons it's not that practical, just in terms of location and whatever is like, you know. And I've been focusing more on the online stuff, like trying to put more stuff online that people can check out and try to build something from that. I think it fits me better, because I got kind of tired of the constant like playing in the pubs and staying up late, and you know, just I don't really enjoy it. I mean, it's fun to play, but I'm not such a big fan of the whole, I guess you could call it the lifestyle around it, if you know what I mean, and going out and playing for a bunch of people who don't really care about what you're doing, and you know, drunk people shouting at you. It's just like, I don't know. It's like I'd rather do something else a lot of the time. It can be fun, but I've done it a lot, and I'm a bit, you know, I feel like doing other things is more interesting, to be honest. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this whole YouTube thing, and like working more on my own stuff and not really worrying about, you know, being like full-time or legit or whatever. It's just trying to focus more on whatever I find fun and not worry too much about all the other stuff that goes along with this whole music thing. And then it is nice to have like a stable income from teaching as well. So, and you do actually get some practice in with the teaching in some situations, you know. Sometimes you get to train your ears a bit if somebody wants to learn something and you just have to like figure it out on the lesson or whatever, you know. So you do get like a little bit of experience and training, but you know, but it's mostly that's like stability thing, you know, that you can actually get like money in a kind of stable way like that. I mean, you can do that with music as well, but it's kind of tricky, you know. Especially, you know, if you like weird niche guitar driven stuff that like, I don't know, just a few people online maybe care about, you know. Or that one weird guy in the crowd that always comes up to you after you're done playing. There's always one of those, you know, when you're doing gigs, and then you can just tell there's this like guy, like you're playing in some bar and there's like a guy in the corner just like staring at you the whole night, and then you just know like, oh, that guy, he's gonna fucking come up to me in the break and start talking to me. And they, yeah, I mean, that can be funny too, but you know, after a while you get kind of you get a little bit fed up with it sometimes, I guess. Also, I guess I did use that string. Okay, I will take these two, and then I will take the rest of these and put them back into this other package. Let's see, this is not professional. Let's see if I can make this stick together somehow. Okay, that's not really working. Okay, just keep doing it until it works. That's a good solution for just about everything. There we go. Okay, B string, and also I'm gonna take this. This is the string that I cut by accident. Or is it? I think this is the one. Yeah. So I'll just put this in here as well. And then I'll make like a post-it note to myself. Although I'm not sure if I will use this string on a guitar with a floating bridge ever, but whatever. Maybe I'll do something with it later. But I mean, it's not a big loss. It's not a big deal. Let's see, and then I'll just I'll put it in here. It shouldn't be a big deal. And then that goes in there. Then I don't have to worry about those landing somewhere inappropriate. And yeah, I was missing a few. Here we go. There we go. Oh, that just fell. Okay, oh my god, this is not working out. There we go, okay. And then we move on to the B string. Actually, we should take off this one first so that that's done. Yes, I do wonder, because this is like a really nice sort of like country style guitar, but I do just feel like it needs a little bit more firmness on the lower strings. So I'm hoping this will help with that. Just give it a little bit more stability to help with the tuning on the lower strings. On the high strings, it's fine, but do you get a lot of girls while doing gigs? Because every time I hear guitarists and drummers get a lot of attention from opposite gender. Nah, it's mostly dudes who want to look at your pedal board. That's mostly the people who care. So yeah, that's the reality of things. You don't expect too many chicks, but expect old dudes who want to see what sort of pedals you're using. That's more common, I feel like. You know. But I guess everyone's experience is different with that. That's pretty good. Let's see. I mean, you meet a lot of people playing, but I don't know. Usually it's kind of, I don't know. To me, it's mostly, it was interesting to meet musicians that you could play with. And then other than that, it's a lot of drunk people, to be honest. And it depends on what sort of gigs you're doing, of course. I've done some like theater gigs where you were playing in the live band for like a theater and stuff, and that's like obviously a very different environment. So it really depends what sort of gigs you're doing. But the typical like bar gigs or whatever, those are it's a lot of drunk people, and to me it's usually not very interesting. You're just just there to play and then just go home afterwards. But if you're doing some gigs, like for example the theater stuff, or something a little bit more like a concert with like a listening audience, you can get more nicer audience, people in the crowd, just that are actually there to listen and they care about the music and whatever. So, but it really depends. But yeah, you are going to get... has anyone tried to fight you on stage? No, well... I'm trying to remember. There was a guy who was really angry once. Like, he was very angry at me for some reason. And but he started, like, yelling at me after, so in the break. But he didn't fight me. He was just, like, shouting at me, and then he left. But I did once play with a guy. He's like the singer and plays guitar, like acoustic. And there was a guy who started fighting one of his friends in the audience. So the singer had to run out into the crowd and start fighting the guy who was fighting his friend. But he left in the middle of a verse or a chorus. So then it just became a very long guitar solo until he was done fighting the guy, and then he came back on stage and continued. So that was kind of funny. So I got like an extra guitar solo in that song because of that, because we just kept playing even though he was off the stage fighting. So that was kind of interesting. But I don't know, usually I stay out of trouble with stuff like that. I don't really provoke people that much. I just kind of, yeah. Nah, I don't really get in trouble with that stuff. But you do see some crazy people, that's for sure. I've seen people that go into, they think the storage room is like a toilet and they start pissing everywhere, or, people that go through like mental episodes on the gig, and people that show up with instruments thinking they can join the band. And like we had this one guy once who showed up with like a clarinet, and he played like every wrong note you could ever imagine. And he was just sitting in the audience playing his clarinet and just like trying to find the right key, but he never found it. So he was just sitting. I'm pretty sure he was pretty drunk as well. And so we had this whole gig where this guy on the clarinet was just like wandering around in the audience playing in the wrong key very loudly, which was quite interesting. So that was pretty funny. And what other things? There was a guy who once got like super mad at like this was another band, but he got like really mad at the singer or something, and he like started pulling out cables at the front of the stage. Um, so there's been like some stuff that have happened, but it's it's all good stories. I'm trying to think of some other ones. There are many stories, but some of them are too long or too, I don't know, too controversial or whatever, like crazy people doing crazy stuff. So yeah. But it is a fun thing, but it's also like sometimes it can be a bit exhausting, and not all of the stuff is that funny, but some of it's just kind of like annoying, you know. But you do get some stories that are very funny as well. Like I don't think I can say it. Like some of these stories, I don't think I can say them. Like they're too. Maybe later. I don't know. I didn't do anything bad, but there's like other people that just do things that's just like not good, and usually it's because they're drunk, I do have one funny one where I was doing a gig outside of a Burger King, which is pretty strange to say, but we were doing like a little gig right outside of Burger King as like some sort of I don't know. I don't remember what the point was. It was just like some shopping center thing. And during that gig, I stumbled upon you. Yeah, yeah. Goodbye for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. And take care. Yeah, it was nice chatting. I can just finish that story before I start talking about changing strings again, I suppose. So I did have, we were playing a gig outside of Burger King, which is stupid to think about, but whatever, we did it. And I was playing like a lot of sort of like emulating steel guitar on just normal electric guitar. Just like trying to make the guitar sound like that, just as like a accompaniment thing. I remember the singer who was playing piano and singing. He finished the song and he said like, "If you play any more steel guitar right now, I'm gonna shoot you." So that was pretty funny. So I got like a death threat on stage. I'm not sure how serious he was about that, but I did play a little bit less steel guitar after that. So I'm still alive. Pretty funny though. And I've heard similar stories where I heard a story. This is not my story, but I've heard this one, and that's like a guy who kept doing like this specific ending on every song. Like he just kept like hitting like a major 7 at the end of every song. And I think this was the singer who said that if he does that major 7 ending one more time, he's gonna punch him in the face. And then he played the ending, and then the singer like boxed him straight in the face, and then he quit the band. That's not my story though. That's somebody I know who has that one, so that's pretty funny. Okay, the strings are on, and this guitar has like the graphite reinforcement in the neck, so I'm not sure if I need to adjust the truss rod on this one, because it should be pretty stable, but we'll stretch out the strings a little bit and see how it goes. I'm still a little bit annoyed that I accidentally cut that that D string though, but whatever. What's done is done. Although it is nice, I had somebody tune in and talk to me. That's kind of nice. So maybe I should do this whenever I change strings, or just do anything that's sort of monotonous on regarding guitar. I don't know. Could be fun. I'm just babbling on. It's like fun for me. I'm trying to think of some other funny stories from gigs. There's always some weird stuff that happens, but yeah, but some of it's hard to describe, I used to do this sort of like jam session thing at like a pub every week for like a few years. So I saw a lot of weird stuff there. And I had to play with a lot of weird people as well. But then again, I'm also one of the weird people, so I mean, I shouldn't talk too much. Alright, so strings have been changed on this guitar too, and all the locking tuners are good. Alright, now I'm thinking I could do the bass as well. So let's put that down. There we go. And let's get the bass and see what we can do. Okay. So this is one of the Headless Ibanez basses. And I do really like this one. The only thing I don't like about it is the fret markers. Because you see I've put like these yellow fret markers on this one, but you see the official ones are these tiny ones here. And when you look at the guitar or the bass from this angle with the low B string, it kind of covers them up. So it's kind of like a bad placement of the fret markers. But yeah, these strings are pretty worn out, I feel like, so I'm going to try switching them out. Although I actually don't know what gauge is on this already. So I'm just like taking a guess with these and hoping these will be good. Worst case scenario, I'll just adjust the truss rod, I suppose, and the intonation and whatever. I don't need to use this bass like on a gig or anything anytime soon, so I have some time to play around with it before I decide if I like it or not. So I guess let's just start with the B string, I think. Just see what that's like. We can maybe compare the thickness as well and see. At least these are Diodarios. Let's see. Oh. Let's see. I just want to make sure I get... Oh shit, hang on. Okay. Okay, don't do that. I haven't changed strings on this before, so I don't know the mechanism exactly, but I think I need to loosen it here first. So that's going to be an Allen key, I hope. I could try the one that comes with the Pia. Here we go. Let's see if this fits. Nope, let's try the other one. Hopefully I have something for this. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so there's the string, and I think, okay, that's how it works. So goes in there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this mechanism, I haven't really looked that hard at it before. So for now, I won't cut these off, just in case I've made a mistake. I need to put them back on or anything like that. So once again, oh, this one we can open like that, okay. So let's put the new strings, let's put it here, I suppose. And that's true, I don't know the color coding. Oh yeah, purple for the... I guess the color coding is the same. Yeah, it's just the purple is for the B, yeah. Okay, let me just compare the thickness of this. It looks about the same. I think it's the same gauge. So this should be good. All right, here we go. Put that in there. And then run this through the locking mechanism. And then I guess you have to kind of tighten it pretty hard here. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure if it's a bad thing if the thinner part of the string is there. Hopefully that's not a big deal. But let's see. There we go. That should lock it down pretty nicely. And I guess I'm going to use the tuner for this as well. All right. So this is definitely all right. Oh yeah, it sounds more clear already actually. Yeah, it has a lot more brightness to it. Okay, so that's good. That is sort of what I wanted, because those strings were starting to sound very dull, you know. Oops. Maybe I should have loosened that a little bit before. Oh well, whatever, it's done now. There we go, so that's the E string. I'll just keep that just in case. You never know, you might mess something up, and then you gotta also, let's make sure that doesn't touch the other guitar too much. Okay. So here we go with the E string. And who knows, I might have to change the, or adjust the intonation a bit. What happened to this thing? I hope I didn't break it or anything. Oh no, I think I know what I did. I accidentally didn't open this up, so there we go. Let's see, does this extend into the, yeah, that looks a bit better. Hopefully it's not a problem on the B string. Also, what was that? Oh, that was the, sorry. Yeah, I just dropped the tuning mechanism. It's fine though. I got it under control. But yeah, I do really like this bass. You know, it's just convenient with the headless design. And the only thing that messes me up is the inlays a little bit, but I fixed that myself. And then sometimes the fanned fret thing, like if I'm playing like all the way down here and I'm reading like a chart or something, sometimes I'll just like ever so slightly miss the fret because of the fanning. But I have gotten more used to it over the few years that I've had this. So, but it's still a little bit of a risk factor sometimes. There we go. All right, we got our E. Now let's move on to the D. No, it's an A, sorry. I was thinking in the 6th string, even though this is a 7th string bass. Okay, there we go, that should be fine. And then I'll just loosen this. And I do also have that headless Ibanez Q guitar, which is actually quite nice. I do actually like that guitar. So I do want to do a review of that eventually. There's many videos on the to-do list, so I think the review order will be the Ibanez Pia, and then the Ibanez, the orange Ibanez that I have. It's an RG hardtail, sort of like a metal style Ibanez with bare knuckle pickups in it. And then maybe the headless Ibanez, or maybe the 30 fret Ibanez. Yeah, there's many guitars that I want to make reviews of, so I'll just have to do one at a time. But the Pia is the priority now when it comes to the reviews, you know. Let's see, it would be this one, right? And I do think that's a guitar that many people... Hell, that fucking thing makes a lot of noise. I think the Pia is a guitar that many people will want to see, so... Yeah, that's close enough. Alright, maybe I should cut these, just so I don't have to deal with that sound being so annoying. I'll cut it here somewhere. There we go, there's one. 2. There we go, 3. Yeah, they were making a lot of noise. I just want to get rid of that. Yeah, but they're sounding a lot brighter already, so I think the string change here was good. I think it was high time that I did this. I bought this one used as well, and I have no idea how old these strings really are. So, and I know a lot of people don't really change the strings on their bass, at least not very often. So, but I think this will help a little bit with the tone, make it a bit snappier and more distinct, you know. All right, here we go, D string, if I can get it out of here. This is quite the spaghetti moment. There we go. All right, let's put that in there. All right, let's attach that slightly. There we go. All right, good. Then attach this. Great stuff. And then tune it up. And then I have the Axe FX tuner over here. Okay, what now? I can't turn it anymore, so maybe I need to readjust this thing. So I need to open up this again, I think, and stretch it a little bit harder. Okay, let's try that. Hopefully I haven't messed anything up too badly. Okay, maybe I need to detach this one completely to see how. Let's see. Okay, so now I think I just screwed it in too much in the beginning. All right, let's try again. Oh, well, not too bad for it being the first time I'm using this stringing system, or whatever you want to call it. This headstock design. I feel like it's a little bit different on the Q guitars. Or maybe it's not, it's just smaller. I'm not sure. But let's see what we get. Yep, okay, we got up to a D, so that's good. Then we can just detach this. There we go. And if you are watching, feel free to write stuff in the chat. You know, I'm just chilling out here, so if anybody wants to talk about anything, you know, just write something, or just say where you're from, or I don't know, what guitar you play. I don't know, just anything. It's pretty chill here right now. Although I'm gonna be finished soon because this will be the last string. Let's see, let's flip it over. And then maybe in the future I'll do some live streams where I play a bit more. That could be interesting to try. Maybe some practice related stuff could be interesting. We could just see what happens. I am kind of interested in trying the streaming format a bit more, just to see if people enjoy it or whatever. There we go. There's that. Come on, come on. There we go. Okay, and let's learn from our past mistake and stretch this out here. And then attach it. All right. And then let's see if we can get up to a G. I'm getting pretty close. Yep, there we go. All right, and then I'll just cut this not too close, just in case something happens. Okay, and that's the last string. I'll just do a little bit of the stretching, the same method that I did on the guitars. First a little bit on the 12th fret, and then like the top of the fretboard-ish, and then down here somewhere. So I kind of stretch it in 3 different places, and that's sort of, I don't know, to me that's probably enough. There's probably somebody out there who has a better way. I mean, there's definitely somebody out there who has a better way, but whatever. This is just usually what I do. Just stretching it in 3 different places, kind of evenly spread across the string. And then whatever stretchiness has to happen after that, I kind of do that by just playing it, you know. Especially with electric guitars with bending, you know, that stuff kind of happens a little bit by itself. But, you know, it takes a few seconds to do this, and it's probably just makes it a little bit less of a headache to do the tuning later. There we go. Oops. Accidental slap. Okay, here we go. Oh, hang on, I just noticed a huge mistake. Oh, the G string is not on the saddle. That's kind of bad. Let's see if I can fix that. Alright, I fixed it. Hopefully that did not damage the string or anything like that. That would be bad. There we go. Yeah, the low B is probably the most in need of stretching, I would say. But I do like the feel, and it sounds like they are more bright just from this. So I wonder what they sound like through the Axe effects and whatever. So I'll definitely be trying that sometime soon. Hopefully I can start recording some bass on this other song that I'm working on. And like I said, there is a new song sort of finished, but I'm waiting for the drummer to record his final tracks, which is taking a while. I've been waiting since, I don't know, a few months, let's put it that way. Okay, there we go. But that's about it. I don't think I have anything else I need to restring at the moment. Nah, I think it's good. I think everything has new strings on it, or new-ish, or new enough. So that's probably going to be it for this one. But a few people tuned in, and one person, only one person, wrote something in the chat, which I appreciate. Although there's still time to write anything at all if you want to be the second person, so go for it. But yeah, that's I don't know, that's kind of fun, you know, just why not stream it, you know, maybe talk to some people while I change my strings. Seems kind of fun, so I'll probably do that again at some point, or something similar, or streaming some playing, or I don't know, something like that. We'll figure it out as we go. But for now, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you to the guy who wrote anything in the chat. Holy shit, what his name. And then thanks to anyone who tuned in to watch, and thanks to anyone who watches my videos in general.